Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to make a video really quickly. I've been working, I've been busy, but this whole USADA thing has to be spoken about. Now, it's abundantly clear that the UFC dropped USADA for Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor only. But now that he's on a downward trajectory, you're gonna get rid of your whole anti-doping standards for one guy. That's gonna, help the UFC rise, but this is gonna help make the UFC fall. And it's an absolute travesty in my opinion. And to prove this point that the UFC did this just for Conor McGregor, let's take a look at USADA CEO Travis Tygarts' scathing statement against the UFC and partially Conor McGregor. So his statement, released on October 11, 2023, we can confirm that Conor McGregor has re-entered the USADA testing pool as of Sunday, October 8th, 2023. We have been clear and firm with the UFC that there should be no exception given by the UFC for McGregor to fight until he has returned 2 negative tests and has been in the pool for at least 6 months. The rules also allow USADA to keep someone in the testing pool longer before competing based on their declarations upon entry in the pool and testing results. Unfortunately, we do not currently know whether the UFC will ultimately honor the 6-month or longer requirement because as of January 1st, 2024, USADA will no longer be involved with the UFC anti-doping program. Despite a positive and productive meeting about a contract renewal in May 2023, the UFC did an about-face and informed USADA on Monday, October 9th, that it was going in a different direction. Gee, I wonder why. We are disappointed for UFC athletes who are independent contractors who rely on our independent gold standard global program to protect their rights to a clean, safe, and fair octagon. The UFC's move imperils the immense progress made within the sport under USADA's leadership. The relationship between USADA and UFC became unattainable given the statements made by UFC leaders and others questioning USADA's principled stance that McGregor not be allowed to fight without being in the testing pool for at least 6 months. We saw that with McGregor saying he was going to fight in December, and that was way below 6 months, and Dana White saying December, and then he enters the pool and everyone's saying, oh, it has to be 6 months, but obviously that is not the UFC's intended goal. One UFC commentator echoed this recently, declaring that USADA should not oversee the UFC program since we held firm to the 6-month rule involving McGregor. And since we do not allow fighters without an approved medical basis to use performance-enhancing drugs like experimental unapproved peptides, John Jones, or testosterone for healing or injuries simply to get back in the octagon. Fighters' long-term health and safety, in addition to a fair and level playing field, are more important to USADA than short-term profits at the expense of clean athletes. Now that's a fantastic point because they want to get Conor McGregor in there and they want to kowtow to him to have one big payday, but Conor McGregor is on a downward slope and it's not worth it to put all your money into a guy who's sporadic. USADA is proud of the work we've done over the past years to clean up the UFC, and we will continue to provide our unparalleled service to UFC athletes throughout the remainder of our current contract, which ends on December 31st, 2023. As always, we will continue to uphold the rights and voices of clean athletes in all sports. So that's pretty compelling. I mean, that's what we all thought in the first place with Conor McGregor coming back on steroids. And I've seen the comments, I see people saying this is awesome, this is going to be like back in the day with TRT Vitor and Brock Lesnar and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not fair because not every fighter is going to choose to do steroids. And you've had people injured by people on steroids, like Michael Bisping. And you want these people to come in and cheat, like the cheaters won. At the end of the day, if this is the case, the cheaters won. And people always say, well, you know, John Jones who tests positive, people always say, well, steroids didn't help him, teach him how to kick. No, it didn't, but it allowed him to train that kick way harder than anybody else, and it allowed his explosive timing and all that stuff, his strength to be improved. People that are not familiar with steroids think that people are using like bodybuilding steroids to get jacked. No, they're using like Ben Johnson style steroids so that they can train without getting fatigued. And that's why a lot of UFC fighters test positive after an injury. Anderson Silva, they test positive. Conor McGregor didn't test positive, but he went out of the USADA pool after his injury to do steroids. And the reason why you do that is so that you can recover from your injury faster. That's why you do it. So if you're able to go in the gym and train 20 times harder than the guy that you're facing, it's not fair, it's cheating. So, and not everyone wants to do steroids, because if you do steroids, your heart is also a muscle. You will increase your risk of cardiac arrest and all that kind of stuff. So it's not for everybody. And also your natural testosterone is going to start to go down. You're going to be fucked when you're older. You're going to have to be on the TRT program for the rest of your life. These are issues that not every fighter wants to do. But this is something that the UFC is promoting, and they've kowtowed to one person. And everybody has been at a job somewhere where there's one employee or something that gets special treatment. And that's exactly what happened in the UFC, and it's extremely unfortunate. So anyways, guys, I just want to make this video really quick because it was annoying me. I'm seeing like a lot more support for it than I thought. USADA isn't perfect, but having like a anti-doping thing, I think, is a good strategy. I don't think you should, because people that don't want to do steroids are going to have to start doing steroids if everybody else is doing steroids, and then you create this unhealthy environment. And then people like John Jones are celebrating. You know, they're celebrating because they know they can get back on the program, and it's and Conor McGregor can skirt the rules and do steroids and come back and be a better version of his faltering self. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I guess we'll see what happens.